want to admit to themselves, yes, I have drama. How do you deal with people's resistance to that idea in itself?
Well, first of all, a person has to become comfortable with exploring the idea that they might have drama. And really, here's what I say, that if you don't know who you are, and if you don't know what you want, you'll learn through pain. And what I mean by that is emotional pain, distress, upset, worry, bad health due to the stress. That's a good indication that there's a lot of unresolved issues that are either hidden or that you want to deny. And in reality, there's another place on the drama triangle that I've developed along with the 3 points that Dr. Cartman developed, and that's the middle place, which is called denial. And denial is when you just keep your head in the sand. For example, a person may let their credit cards build up, and instead of looking at it and looking at their income, they just keep paying the minimum amount and just keeping it off of their mind versus looking at it and seeing what is real in this real world. They might say, well, I believe in the law of attraction, so I'm just going to think good thoughts and money will come in. There's some truth to that, but it's not the whole truth, and it's a way of denying responsibility of what you have to do to clean that up. And it's the same thing that people do in relationships.
Right, so people can the drama can be something big and explosive, but it can also be just something small under the surface that comes from all these things piling up and us not dealing with things like you're talking about, and so it creates the disruption under the surface.
Absolutely, and it's really important that we don't judge drama, and I think you're exactly right. People get into this mode of, well, I don't have drama, that's other people. And a lot of times when I work with corporations, the boss will think that it's all the employees. They'll say, oh, the employees have so much drama. And I'll say, well, where do you fall into this? And they'll say, well, it's really them. But once they get the definition of what drama is, the reality is they have drama, even if all the drama they have is just that they worry about it. So usually the boss is in a sense of denial and without knowing what to do or where to turn because they don't want to lose their staff, they don't want to make the pot boil any hotter, and so they kind of go into denial hoping that it will all work itself out. A good way that you might identify denial in corporate is when someone says, well, we're all adults, we'll work through this. That usually doesn't happen.
Right. Right, so that should be a tip-off. Someone says that, and then there's drama under the surface.
And that's kind of like that waiting for someone else to apologize. That's another waiting. I'm waiting for someone else, and usually most of us are not mature enough to be the first one to apologize until we come to a higher level of awareness.
Right, and it's so easy to point out someone else's drama, like you're saying too. We can really spot it in other people, and again, it becomes that label.
That's exactly right. If you're seeing it in everybody else and not yourself, that's why I tell people I sure never want to give the impression that I'm saying I have it all figured out and that my life is perfectly peaceful all the time. I'm still dedicated to growing. So I know that I'm going to have some drama, and I always look at it as a lesson and a story for later. So I don't worry about it that much. I just know I'm going to have my fair share as long as I'm alive on this planet.
Yeah, and I found for myself, it's one of the, in the finishing of this book I've been writing, Waiting for Jack, it's one of the many ways that I avoid actually writing is to create a drama. So in the moment it seems like, this really is a real situation that I need to put my attention on. Something might come up in a relationship with someone that all of a sudden goes slightly awry, and I have to, I spend a lot of energy on that. So for me, it's this huge energy expenditure on something that seems hugely important at the time. And then kind of when I come full circle, I realize I've just actually created this whole thing so I can avoid doing something that is challenging. So do you see that kind of thing too?
Yeah, I so agree, and I think it's really courageous, and I think that all of us who do coaching and mentoring and training, we have to really be authentic and share our own struggles so that others will not feel that we are thinking that we're better or higher and mighty because we struggle too, and that's why we feel so motivated to help people. And I think what you're saying is exactly right. One of the theories that I work with on this methodology is that we'll look for any reason to avoid responsibility. And so whether that's the distraction of look how bad the boss is, or the distraction of, well, my spouse doesn't understand that I need to write for 2 hours, so therefore I've got an excuse as to why it didn't get done, or after all, I am exhausted and anybody else would need to rest. Whatever it is, we can either be overly hard on ourselves, or we can make justifications and excuses. And so the wisdom is in staying in that flow and seeing when you're doing that so that you can get back on track. And the reality is we never truly stop the drama. We get back in the flow, and then it comes a little bit, and then, that's really how it works.